From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And it is time for the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. So, where are we at right now? What are we doing right now? And pretty much, what are we going to do right now? We're going to go ahead and talk about this trade that was made yesterday, and that's going to be the Hawks' John Collins, who was traded to Jazz for Rudy Gay, who will make the most impact for their new team. Okay, so pretty much with that, when it comes down to it, we have ourselves a pretty trade that involves a young player for an old player. And you look at this and you say to yourself, well, you got a good player in John Collins, who's going to a new team, breath of fresh air somewhat, to where he'll be on a team where he'll get some recognition now. Playing with Lauri Markkanen is going to be huge because Lauri Markkanen is a big-time player as well, too. Most improved player in the NBA last season. That was huge for business. Also, they also have Kessler as well, too, a very good center from Germany who was high-end productive player last year. You still have Colin Sexton as well, who's a very speedy point guard, and you still got Jordan Clarkson, a very good combo guard, a guy who can do a whole lot with a whole lot, and you don't have to ask him for too much. So there's a lot of really good things going on right now for the Utah Jazz, in my opinion. They're making a deal to where they're trying to become a much younger team than what they are. They're not too worried about old guys on this team anymore, because the old guys are filtering themselves out. Those guys are literally all gone now, in a sense. You know what I mean? If you don't have LeBron and Chris Paul and things of that nature, then you don't need Rudy Gay. And that's exactly what Utah is looking at in this situation. Rudy Gay is still a very valuable player, but he's a player that's going to be more valuable for a team like Atlanta. Utah is in a situation where they're looking at the youth movement of their squad more than adding more old guys. That's the whole thing. And I think that John Collins going to a team like Utah, it will help his whole spectrum, in my opinion. I think that he's an absolutely exceptional player. I used to love watching him at Wake Forest when he played for Danny Manning, a guy that he eerily replicates, in my opinion. People have to understand, Danny Manning's first 8 years in the league were absolutely fun to watch. He was absolutely tremendous on the Clippers, and he was absolutely tremendous on the Hawks before he got hurt. And then he was able to do some pretty good things with Utah as well, too, at the end of his career. So this is a good move for John Collins because he goes to a place where it's a little bit more chill, chillax, things like that. He can just go and play basketball. Atlanta has a lot of distractions. You got beautiful women. You got a budding city that's always growing and doing new things and all that good stuff. And you know what? When you're really good at sports, a lot of people want your attention. Now, in Utah, they might not even know he plays for the Jazz with certain people. So he's in a position where he can go ahead and actually just be a great basketball player. And he doesn't have to worry about committing any time to the Jazz. He's already under a big 3-year. He already has 3 years left on his contract, $78 million. So that makes him a moving part as well, too, if it doesn't work out with Utah. So he knows he's not stuck there. So pretty much I think that you go where you're wanted. And I think he'll realize that very early when he gets to Utah. Now, Rudy Gay can be a great veteran presence for the Hawks to get them to the next level. Not meaning not getting them to the NBA championship, but get them to the next level in the game to where they become a consistent winner with Trey, because Trey might need a mentor like a Rudy Gay to get to the next level in the game. All right. So with that, let's go ahead and move forward and let's get into some Laker talk. So we got the state of the Lakers and the Lakers free agency plan. We got a lot of things going on with the Lakers when it comes to free agency. And you know that the first names that they bring up, Harden and Kyrie Irving, and every top name that they want the Lakers to give a stab to. You know what I mean? Give somewhat of an offer to. You still have D'Angelo Russell, who's an unrestricted free agent, but you can use him as a piece to move forward, in a sign and trade situation. Then you also have Austin Austin Reeves, who's a very, very good player, who stepped up a lot, and a lot of people like the guy a lot. So pretty much, hey, Connor, how's everything going, sir? Well, it's midday, so you could say happy afternoon, you could say good morning or good afternoon, one or the other. It doesn't really matter. We in the middle of the day already anyway. So pretty much you have Austin Reeves, a guy who really does look into being a part of the Lakers franchise for some time. And then you have Rue, who's a guy who's looking to establish himself as a force in the NBA. But it seems like he's pretty wanted by the Lakers as well, too. But they are already in a position where they're kind of in the middle of what's going to really happen with their deal, because he's looking for 15. The Lakers probably can only afford about 13. So he's looking for 15 million a season, 15, 16 million a season. I think the Lakers are thinking 13, 14. Can they meet somewhere in the middle? That's the biggest question. And I think that Rue, best option would be to take whatever the Lakers are offering him, because LeBron's not going to be there for long. And if he can go ahead and show out and show up, he'll be able to get a big contract extension with the Lakers within the next few years if he plays up to that capability. So you have Rue and Reeves, two guys that can be very, very valuable towards your team's future. Yes, sir. I think I am. It's about to get a little busy here, so I'm trying to make sure that I got everybody together. I'm just over here answering some questions though. But yeah, Connor, I pretty much am. I'm good today. I hope you're doing pretty well today as well, too, sir. So pretty much, these two guys can be seen as some very valuable assets. I think that Mo Bamba and Malik Beasley are on their way out. No offense to them, really good basketball players, but I just think that at the end of the day, that they're going to be better on different rosters, because they weren't getting that much playing time with the Lakers anyway. Malik Beasley actually came in as a starter and then worked his way out of the rotation, because literally he came to be a big shooter, and that shooting touch went away fairly early in the process of him being there. But I think that there were a couple distractions that were thrown his way, like bringing up the fact that he dated Scottie Pippen Jr.'s mother. That wasn't really cool, with Scottie Pippen Jr. being on the bench every single night. So, that was some messiness that didn't need to occur. So I don't think that he ever really was that focused in after, they kept making that a big deal, because guys read these blogs, guys read all this stuff, and, that can cause a little bit of tension between two guys if, you dated his mother, and, his mother is going through a very messy divorce with his very famous father. So, it's just all messiness in a sense. So I think that a guy like that can't be on your team next season, because it's just too much of a distraction. And you start to look at the other free agents that are a part of this group, and you say to yourself that the Lakers should try to bring back at least 80% of this roster. There are a lot of really good players on this team that went very well together. And you have to make sure that you're going to be adding the right pieces to what you have now. The Lakers don't want to totally overhaul the team again This would be about the sixth time they would do that in the LeBron era. Look, they literally had 3 different teams last season. So they're going to have to figure it out on who's going to really be them guys when it comes down to being with the Lakers. So with that, we move forward. We'll have some more Laker talk next week, but we move forward and let's go ahead and jump into the Jets chosen for a second time to be on Hard Knocks, HBO Hard Knocks at that. What to expect from Gang Green. All right, so you got Aaron Rodgers in the house, who's going to be very, very, very instrumental in a lot of things. You also have Brees Hall coming back off an injury. You have Garrett Wilson, big-time wide receiver. Then you have Sauce Gardner, who's going to probably be a big main star of the mini documentary that they have here with the Hard Knocks and everything like that. So you're going to have a lot of fun here. You're going to have a lot of really good storylines to follow up with. And then we also get to know Coach Salah a little bit better and see what really goes through Coach Salah's head as well, too. And also you're going to be able to get Zach Wilson in there as well, too. A little bit of controversy to, really stir the pot up a little bit. So with that, I think that what happens here is that you have a really, really good mix of characters that's going to make it a very good show, in my opinion. I think that a lot of people are going to be very satisfied with this one because you're giving them a lot of star power with this one. Last year when we did Detroit, that was more of a blue collar. Why does Detroit always stink? Why do they always suck? Can they be better? Will this be helpful? All that stuff. And then it wound up being a very good moment for them because it really helped their team actually go to the next level. Their team pretty much needed that tape and those results to stay motivated. Jamal Williams was a big factor in that as well, too. Jared Goff, being who he is, was a big factor in those guys having such a great season. But it all started with Hard Knocks. It all started with a positive Hard Knocks. And everybody got a good idea of what to expect with the Detroit Lions, not just for last season, but for the upcoming seasons as well, too. And they became a team that everybody in America fell in love with. And you know what? When the Jets were on this the first time around, they were a team that everybody was in love with in America because at that point in time, Rex Ryan was their head coach, and they had just brought in some pretty big names when it came to free agents as well, too. So it was some big moments going on with that. They also had Mark Sanchez as the star quarterback at that time as well, too. So it was a lot of fun doing the first Gang Green, but it wound up being one of the worst seasons for the Jets as well, too, because the Jets wound up just being a really, really not meeting the expectations that they thought that they were going to meet. And it didn't go the way that they wanted it to go. It wasn't too far after that to where Rex Ryan wasn't even their coach anymore. So, Hard Knocks is something that can bring a lot of hype to a team. A team like the Jets have Super Bowl expectations. And last time they were on Hard Knocks, they had Super Bowl expectations. So this might be something that they wanted to really avoid because they might have wanted to have the full focus because they know that they're going to take every little story from Hard Knocks and try to make it a blog. Every little thing they do. Because they already made a whole big fuss about when, you saw Sauce Gardner and Aaron Rodgers acting like they were smoking a joint, So, and they made that a big deal, talking about, are they focused in on the football season? Is that what they're going to be doing in the offseason? Blah, 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 blah. So there's a lot of things that you question about the Jets moving forward. But one thing that you won't question is the talent that the Jets have, and that the Jets have a big opportunity to make themselves very, 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 what's the word I want to use? To make themselves very noticeable in the AFC next year. A lot of people felt like they should have made the playoffs last year. I told everybody from the moment that they were 4-1 or whatever record they had to where everybody was getting excited about the Jets will not make the playoffs because they'll mess it up. That quarterback will get figured out. And then when they throw the backup in there, he'll probably win one game. And then they'll want to hand him the team. And then pretty much what happens is that he falters for the rest of the year as well, too. That was really stupid that, you wind up getting a guy. Joe Flacco won one game, and you had a guy in Mike White win one game, and then you had Zach Wilson win three. Zach Wilson win six. So really, did you really do anything smart here? No, you did not, in my opinion. So pretty much the Jets are in a position now where everybody's on the hot seat. Let's just keep it real. So this is going to be a fun Hard Knocks because it's going to be a lot of unpredictability, in my opinion. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, and that's going to be this. That's going to be, can Justin Fields quiet the critics and lead the Bears back to prominence? Well, the Bears have not been a relevant team in almost 10 years. I think that's the last time they made the playoffs as well, too. I know the last time they made the playoffs for sure. Who was that quarterback? Mitch Trubisky. So that wasn't 10 years ago. It was about 7 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. It was the year that the Philadelphia Eagles went to the second round. It's a year after they won the Super Bowl because everybody has to remember that memorable game in Chicago where they missed the kick. So, everybody had this, everybody was pretty pissed about that. So pretty much now you have Justin Fields. Justin Fields is in a great position this year to lead this team back to some relevancy because when you look at the schedule of the Bears schedule is a little bit different from last year. To me, it's a little more favorable for the Bears to have a great season. And you just got to see exactly how they're going to react in the NFC North this year as well, too. The NFC North is considered one of the wide open divisions in the NFL this year because you can't really predict who the winner is going to be. But the team that they do have at top for the first time in like 25 years, 30 years probably, is Detroit to win the actual division at plus 140, which is absolutely insane. You got Green Bay, who I would have thought they would have made the favorite simply because their coach has been one of the better coaches over the last 2 out of 4, pretty much 2 out of the first 4 years he's been in the league, but really 3 out of the first 4 years he's been in the league because he was an absolute gem the first few seasons. He dominated the NFC North. So I would think that they would still have him in high regard. But I'm looking at Chicago's schedule now. You look through the first 4 games. You got Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Denver. These might be a very tough spot, but it seems like the Bears are always a good team at the top of the season. So you'll wind up getting 2-2, a 2-2 record. And people say, where do you think those wins will probably come from? I think that they'll win on opening day against the Packers, just like Justin Fields has done, just like Justin Fields did last year. And possibly you go into the next week and you beat Tampa Bay. You start the season off 2-0. Then you run into 2 tough games with 2 AFC West opponents. So that probably makes you 2-2. Then you fly to Washington. That's a get-back game from last year. Then you have a game against Minnesota, who you're pretty good against most times. Then you got the Raiders as well, too. We don't expect the Raiders to be that good this season either. So you look at their first 8 weeks of the season, and you say to yourself, this could be a 4-4 team, or it could be a 5-3 team. Possibly, if the defense is playing up to a certain degree as well, too. But then they run into a kind of a rough back-to-back with the Chargers in New Orleans, both on the road. Then they get a little bit of a breather against Carolina. Then they got to go back on the road again for Detroit and Minnesota. And then they get a bye week 13. So they want to be one of those teams that are playing really good football when they go into their bye. You know what I mean? Because that's really when you can make or break how your season is truly going to go. If you're a bad team and you get your bye by week 13, literally by that time, you'll probably be presenting a new team once you get back to the field the next week. Now, in the last final 5 weeks of the season, they got Detroit, Cleveland, Arizona, Atlanta, and Green Bay. This is a good little group to have if you're chasing the playoffs. Now, playing Green Bay the first week and the last week, that's critical right there. And playing Detroit in the stretch that they do. They really actually played Detroit twice in a 4-week stretch. But when you look at it in NFL terms, it would be twice in the next 3 games. So that's pretty huge for them. But that would be 3 divisional games as well too. And then they get Minnesota pretty early in October. So there's a lot of things that should be able to work out well for the Bears moving forward, but Justin Fields has to be more than just a runner. Justin Fields has to show that pretty touch that he had at Ohio State. I know that the guy can pass the ball. I don't care what anybody says. The guy can throw. The guy was absolutely amazing at Ohio State. And I think that he just needed time. He just needed to figure out what he was truly doing out there. And also, he got to have some receivers that can catch the ball as well, too, and get open. Really not even about catching the ball. It's about getting open and getting consistently open as well, too. I think if you get him a solidified run game, I think that things will work out in a very, very good manner for Justin Fields moving forward. So, I really do like the Bears going into this season. I think that the Bears are ready to take that next step and actually be a team of relevancy. So, with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into Blue Crew Daily and MLB Tuesday Night. So, with that, you guys stay right there. I'll be right back to you. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles. And I'm your host, Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, here we are. We are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. Let's go ahead and jump into our first topic of our after break, and it's going to be Blue Crew Daily. Dodgers start a 3-game series in Denver as they take on the division rival Rockies. So the Rockies, as usual, struggling. Worst team in the National League at this point. They're not the worst team in baseball, but they're the worst team in the National League. And really no surprise there because we didn't have Colorado. I didn't have Colorado doing good this year. Arizona was a team that I said that, will probably be the most improved team in the West this year. And the team that probably would be the most overrated in the West this year were the Padres, and all that's kind of coming into fruition. I said the Giants, it all depended on how they would be able to, pretty much how would they start the season and would they be able to recover from that start of the season? Because I knew that they were a middling team, but I had a feeling that they probably were going to get off to a bad start as well, too, which they did, and they pretty much have fixed that. They have themselves in position. And then you have the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the NL West constant. They're constantly going to be a team that's going to be sitting at the top of the division. They're constantly a team that's going to be always the toughest game to play in the division. And they're also going to be a team that really does stick to their basics and figures out ways to just go ahead and dominate a division. But this year hasn't been the same for the Dodgers. The Dodgers are going through a renovation right now, not a rebuild, a renovation. So they're adding in a lot of new players as they alleviate themselves from old players who were very vital to the success of the Dodgers. Right now, the Dodgers are in position to still be in the playoffs, but they're not at the top like you want them to be. So, you have Arizona, who has right now a comfy lead somewhat, but they still know that the Dodgers have not even hit their full bloom yet. And the Dodgers sit 3 games behind them while they sit a half a game behind the Giants right now. So the Dodgers got plenty of motivation going into this game tonight. Now you got a Rockies team that's 31-49, and their record is bad, but at the same time, they're still not as bad as the 2 worst teams in the AL. Like literally. Like it's funny because Colorado is still only, when you look at it, they're still only about 10 and a half games behind a playoff spot. That seems like it's a lot, but in baseball, it's not. Baseball, you can easily have a 8-game winning streak and you find yourself now half a game out. So pretty much, Colorado is in a very log jammed National League. So they're not your regular, just really bad team. But when you do look at differential, this team has given up a lot of runs compared to the runs they've scored. Minus 123. Wow. Dodgers plus 47 themselves, so pretty much. But the Dodgers, I think they broke a record last year. The Dodgers were absolutely incredible when it came to run differential. But the Dodgers find themselves in position to be back in the mix, but they got to keep winning. That's the whole thing. And they're not going to win every game, but they got to keep winning series at this point because the last 2 series they won were key because they did so awful the week before. So now they're back to it, and the Dodgers are trying to finish this month strong after starting this month so bad. So tonight, you got Clay Kershaw on the mound, who has a great history against the Colorado Rockies, but we all know that he's had his woes in Colorado as well, too. They tore him up when he came to Denver to pitch plenty of times. So that's one thing that we do need to be aware of tonight, that they could have a moment against Clayton Kershaw to where they could get things a little crazy here in this game. Connor Seabold was pretty awful last time out, but he was pretty good his 3 outings before that. He went 3 innings last game, gave up 9 runs and only struck out 1 and gave up 9 hits. So that's what they're dealing with tonight. A guy that has been pretty consistent, but the last game he just wasn't. That's the whole thing. So the Dodgers are in a position tonight to where they can't overlook the Rockies. It's just that simple. And this game is pretty critical for the Dodgers as they roll into the All-Star break, because the Dodgers only are going to have a few weeks before the All-Star break, about 2 weeks before the All-Star break now. So they really need to make sure that they win possibly the next 8 out of 10 so they can keep themselves in the mix and keep the pressure on, because catching the Giants ain't going to be hard. But you got to make sure that you catch this Diamondbacks team, because they just get more confident by the game. Even though that they dropped 2 out of 3 in San Francisco last weekend, it didn't matter. They still were able to hold on to their lead. So pretty much the Dodgers need to just go ahead and they got to start turning it all the way on now. It's going to be tough because you don't have your pitching, but help is on the way from what I can see. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. But Dodgers start tonight at 5:40 in Denver, 5:40 Pacific time, 6:40 Mountain time, 7:40 Central time, 8:40 East Coast Standard Time. So there it is. There it is. Let's go ahead and talk about MLB Tuesday night. We got ourselves some pretty good matchups tonight. Well, I know that we got ourselves a really good game. I just talked about Diamondbacks and Rays playing in Arizona tonight. That's a game between two teams that came in together, 1998 to be exact as well too. Those two teams came into the MLB together, so that's pretty fun that they'll be playing each other tonight. Then you also have a pretty good game with the Brewers and the Mets. Who Brewers are trying to hold off the Reds for the first place spot. Then you have the Orioles and Reds tonight. That's the battle between two of the best fan bases in sports and them, rekindling some flames. We all know that the Reds and Orioles played in the World Series back in the 70s as well, too. So we have that to look forward to. And then cheers to you as well, Miguel. Thank you, boss. All right, so we have that as well too, and we have just some really good games. We have also Phillies Cubs tonight. That should be good as the Cubs try to make their run towards the top of the AL Central. I keep telling you guys that there's going to be a lot of moving parts in that division when it's all said and done. And Marlins Red Sox looks like it's going to be a good series as well too. And also a series that caught my eye that should be really fun is going to be the Guardians and the Royals. I think that one should be a lot of fun because you got a Royals team that's playing really bad right now, and you got a Guardians team that's trying to stay up with Minnesota. So you hope that they don't get caught with the overlook here in that spot. So here we are. Let's go ahead, talk about it. Up first, we have the Giants and the Blue Jays. The Giants and the Blue Jays. This looks to be a really good game tonight. You got a Giants team that's 44-34. You have a Blue Jays team that's 43-36. Both teams are kind of in the same position right now. With, the Giants are in the playoffs. Toronto is in the playoffs as well, too, if we were to start today. And pretty much they're chasing the more comfort because they're only a half a game ahead of the Angels, okay? And the Angels pretty much, put them there because the Angels had a pretty bad weekend against the Rockies. Even though they scored 25 runs in a game, it doesn't matter. They still lost 2 out of 3 in the series, and they could have made a big jump over the weekend in their division. But they're still 5 games back. You know what I mean? So, you have that. But the Blue Jays are 4th, and they're in the playoffs. They're 4th in the AL East. That's damn good. And they're 10 games out of first place. That's even damn better. So, this Blue Jays team got Gausman on the mound tonight, while the Giants have one of their newer pitchers on the mound tonight. And this should be a very good way to measure exactly who this Giants team is truly going to be this summer, because how do they look against better competition? Now, Ryan Walker is the pitcher today, but Ryan Walker is more of a spot starter, so he'll come in here and pitch no more than 3 innings, and that they'll go from there. And usually when he comes in the game, he winds up, striking out a few guys and sitting down. So he doesn't have the highest ERA. Anything that, pretty much is, pretty much into the norm of things and things like that. So, tonight, I think what happens here is that you have a really good matchup, but you have a matchup that really favors Blue Jays tough. It favors them on the money line. It favors them in every way, but it really does favor them in the win as well, too. So you got Gausman 7-3, 3.10 ERA. He only gave up 3 runs last time out, struck out 6 as well, too, over 6 innings, and improved to 7-3. So they do win when he gets on the mound, and he's won his last 5 and he's got 5 decisions in a row as well, too, where he won the actual decision. So that means that he's taking care of his business on the mound. So pretty much with that, I'm going to go ahead and take the Blue Jays tonight to win this game, and hopefully we can go ahead and get this one home with the Blue Jays tonight and get this good win in this game tonight. So there it is. There it is. I'm over here. Sorry, y'all. I'm just over here looking at my bets right now as well too. Over here at the rate over here at Prescott Downs, we had the 2-horse go ahead and win. Hopefully the 2-horse doesn't get taken down because it looks like we're having a little bit of an issue right now. But if the 2-horse does get taken down, I think my 5 will be the one that winds up being the winner. So, yep, we have that. But yeah, I have it tonight to where I have the Jays with the -1.5 plus 115 to get the win tonight. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. We move forward from there. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game. And all my games tonight are interleague games that we're looking at because they have a lot of good matchups in the interleague. You got the Twins and the Braves tonight, 2 first-place teams. You have a Twins team that's trying to hold off the you got a Twins team that's trying to hold off Cleveland right now. They're a game and a half ahead. They're 40-40. The Guardians are 37-40. So pretty much they're trying to hold them off at this point. And you have a Braves team that's sitting really comfortable. They probably have the best overall lead out of any team. Well, they do have the best overall lead out of any team that leads the division. They're up 6.5 games in the West East. And they're very comfortable as well, too. You have to understand, this team has been on an absolute roll lately. They've actually won their last 11 out of 12 games. So they are having a great month, and they only lost 4 games this month. So that's really good. So they're 18-4 this month. And it's funny because everybody thought the Reds were possibly going to be the team with the most wins. It looks like it's going to be the Braves that are going to wind up getting the most wins for the month of June. So we'll see how it goes. But in this game tonight, this is going to wind up being our dog of the day. We got Joe Ryan, one of the better pitchers in the MLB, on the mound tonight. And then, Atlanta does have it. Atlanta does have an awesome pitcher going for him tonight in Bryce Elder. But I just like Joe Ryan in this spot, and I feel like the Twins need to make up for what happened yesterday. I had the Twins on a dog bet yesterday. They wound up losing the game 4-1. They even got us kind of started early with a good little home run off top from Joey Gallo, but then they didn't get much after that. So tonight they got to make up for it. So I'm taking them with the plus 125 tonight as the prime time dog bet of the day. And also, just hear me out. Hear me out. We've hit this bet the last 7 days in a row. Okay? So don't sleep on the dog bet of the day. All right? It's hit the last 7 days in a row. I can't make this up. All right. And so pretty much let's go ahead and get that plus 125 home. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out. We move forward from there. Now we pretty much got the game of the night, the series of the week, and that's going to be the Rays and the Diamondbacks. So tonight, I like the way that this game sets up. Good pitching matchup going tonight as well, too. You got Zach Gallen on the mound for the Diamondbacks, while you have a pretty good pitcher on the mound in Taj Bradley tonight for the Rays. So pretty much do you have yourself a pitcher's duel? Somewhat. You got a young pitcher who's figuring it out, who's been doing a great job going against a guy who could possibly win the Cy Young this year. So it's going to be a really, really chessboard type of a game, in my opinion. And I think that you have some of the best hitters in baseball in both of these lineups going today as well, too. But Zach Gallen's numbers are just incredible. 9-2 on a year, 104 strikeouts to 20 walks, 2.84 ERA. Then Taj Bradley comes into this game for the Rays, 5-3, 3.86 ERA, 71 strikeouts, and he has 15 walks on the year. So pretty much Bradley, great start last time out, had an even better start in Oakland. Last two games combined, he has 19 strikeouts and he's only given up 4 runs and he's only given up 7 hits. So he's playing pretty good baseball at this point. He's pitching very well. Zach Gallen has been out of this world. He had a little bit of a dust up against Detroit on the June 11th, but other than that, in his last 5, he's been absolutely tremendous. And in his last 2 games, he gave up 2 runs, struck out 11, only walked 1, gave up 9 hits, and went 14 innings. So this should be a really, really fun game tonight. And I know a lot of people are going to be paying attention to this one tonight as well, too. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to actually make this one the under 8.5 here for the Diamondbacks and the Rays here. And all remember that both these teams showed up in the MLB at the same time in 1998. And boy, oh boy, was it funny to see these teams there. And you know what? How I found out they were bringing in new MLB teams both times? Because of a damn cookie. They still had the MLB cookie with the actual logos of the teams on the cookie. And I remember when they had the Rockies and the Marlins, they were on the cookie. And then the Diamondbacks and the Rays were both on the cookie as well, too. So that's how I found out, because they didn't make it a big announcement when they were bringing in brand new teams into the MLB. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to jump into Talking Tickets. So you guys just stay patient, stay cool. I know that the point of the show that you've been waiting for is coming up. So with that, we will be right back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
Well, here we are, and let's go ahead and jump back into it. And here we are. Up first, Talking Tickets, your favorite subject, my favorite subject. So let's go ahead and see what I got for you today. WNBA tonight, we got a 9-1 ticket here with the Tuesday Pick 3. We got the Sun tonight with the plus 175. That should be a pretty good play for us. We also got the over 161 with the Storm and the Lynx as well, too. And then we also have the plus 3.5 tonight with the Mercury. So we have that in store for us, and hopefully we can get this bad boy home tonight. So there it is. There it is. All right. So pretty much we got the MLB Series Bets for tonight, for this week. So all these series are all the games that were pretty much added today. So we have the Cubs plus 115. We have the Guardians minus 175. We have the Marlins plus 115. We have the Yankees minus 180. And then we finish up with the Cards at minus 115. We got 2 home teams and 3 road teams here as well. Just wanted to let you guys know that. So hopefully we can get the sweep, because last week, man, it was absolutely dreadful. All right, so we have ourselves the MLB PrimeTime PK6, 57-1. We have the 1.5 to the Blue Jays, plus 115. We also have the under 9.5 with the Marlins and the Red Sox. We also have the Twins as the dog of the day, as I already told you guys, at plus 125. Then we have the Cards money line minus 105. And then we have the Tigers and the Rangers, the over 9.5. And then we finish up with the plus 1.5 on the Cubs with the minus 145. This is going to be a 57-1 ticket. All right, and we go ahead and we wrap it up with the MLB Late PK4, 11-1, the over 8.5 with the White Sox and the Angels, the Yanks money line minus 130, the under 8.5 with the Rays and the Diamondbacks, and the plus 1.5 with the Nats minus 110. So that's going to be our ticket for the 11-1 MLB Late PK4. So with that, I want to go ahead and thank you guys so much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best, and I'll be back tomorrow with some more talking tickets, some more current events, and so just some more sports talk for you, and some good sports and some good betting angles for you as well too. So let's keep winning the day. And I'm going to get on my horses right now. So you guys make sure if you're following me on Twitter and you guys want those horse bets, you guys follow my tweets because we got race 2 coming up in probably the next 10 minutes. So you guys be ready for that. And also we'll have Belmont Thursday through Sunday and also have our West Coast horses as well too. Connor, thank you so much, brother, for tuning on in today and everything like that. Make sure you retweet this on your Twitter timeline as well, too. Greatly appreciated. So pretty much with that, I want to thank you guys very much for tuning in today. Once again, this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles with the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. And as I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.